Hey, it's Ivana. Welcome back to my channel. And today I want to share the 5 habits that I stopped doing that I found immediately improved my life. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't stop everything all at once, but this was throughout the course of this past year, which has been plenty to deal with as it is. So, the first thing I stopped was actually quite a while back now. I read Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week, and in there he said that he actually doesn't keep up with news. And at first I was like, what, how do you not keep up with news? But he's like, well, if something is important, you will know about it. Either someone will tell you or the information will find you. It's not like it disappears just because you didn't read up on it immediately. So I was like, alrighty, I was already intrigued. I was like, maybe I can try that. And then number 2, I mean, this whole year has been like full of terrible news and bad things going on. And I was trying to keep up with articles in the beginning, and everyone's sending you things and like, read this, and you're like, you feel like the world is about to fall apart. And then you look outside and you're like, it doesn't seem so bad. So I tried not keeping up with news. And immediately, again, like my mental health was immediately better. I wasn't as anxious because I was like, whatever it is, someone else will figure it out. Like, I'm not going to worry about it because these aren't my problems to solve. Also, I found it's a lot easier to have conversations with people when you just start out with like, sorry, I don't keep up with news, what's going on? Because like, I'll still have people sending me things and I'll do like the, wow, that's crazy, when like I really didn't even read the article, but I'll pretend like I did. Because what they want is they want to talk to you about it. That's what they want. So you just give them a chance to be like, oh, well, what do you think about it? And then they tell you everything. I still go to work. I'm a pharmacist. So I still get lots of interactions with people. And, all the time people will be like, yeah, so, what about the so-and-so? And I'm like, that's crazy. I'll tell them, I don't keep up with news. Like, sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. And again, they're like, they want to tell you, they want to talk about it. So I really haven't struggled with keeping up with news at all. I haven't been seeking it out myself. But it's always found a way to get to me. So that was definitely one of the things, like maybe a little bit leery about it because you think like, well, so much important stuff is out there. Just try it, try and see what happens. And honestly, after I've recently watched 20 minutes of the American election on TV, on the news, and realized that they talk about absolutely nothing for 20 minutes straight, I was like, I don't think it's that important for me to be keeping up. Like, if this is what I'm missing out on, I'm okay. The second thing I stopped doing was actually social media. The reason, so to backtrack, I only really have Instagram. I don't really do any of the other stuff. So that's already plenty time consuming for me. I don't need more stuff. But I would be one of those people that like, I would spend more time scrolling on there and seeing what else was up, and I was not really contributing much myself. So it wasn't like that huge of a thing for me to step away from it. And the reason I decided to give that a try and like have a fast, at least like for a few days or like even a few weeks, was because I was like really noticing that I'm like, a lot of my time is going to it, and like I wasn't getting much out of it. If anything, I was getting off of Instagram feeling kind of crappier. Like, not like, oh, I feel so crappy, Cindy is wearing something. Like, it's not that. It's just like, even if you tell yourself like it's all fake, those are filters, like the constant repeat of looking at stuff that is always like, everything looks great, everything's amazing, it does wear on you after a while, and you kind of just have this like blah feeling when you get off it. And I was like, let's just, for the time part of it, let's just like get away from it and see what happens. And like literally I stopped and I was like, what do I do with my time? Like, I was spending so much time scrolling that I've had to find something else to do, which I quickly filled up. But like, it felt amazing. It felt like I had a whole other day of time ahead of me. Like, instead of scrolling in the evenings, I like read a book now, or like now I'm like, what do I do now? Like, what do I do with my time? So like the freeing up of my time was like immediate. And then not being on it again over a course of a few days, I was noticing like that because I wasn't looking at anything, I felt a lot better about all the things that were going on in my life. And like really not knowing everything kind of was peaceful. Like, I'm like, I don't care. I don't want to watch your breakfast photos and your dog and whatever else you want to post. And kind of tying the last two things together, the social media and the news part, it's kind of like a soap opera to me, because I feel like if you ever kept up with soap operas, there's nothing going on a day-to-day. Like they just keep like creating something out of nothing, and the plot really moves so slow. So when you're on these platforms, like whether you're reading the news or like you're, you know, looking at Instagram or whatever other kind of social platform you use, it feels like there's constantly something going on. You're like, it's so dynamic, you know, you check in the morning, there's something, you check later, there's something else. And it's just like a lot of commotion. Like nothing is really happening. Because if you check back, like if you take a break, you come back a week later, you come back 2 weeks later, literally the same people are still at it, doing the exact same thing, talking about the same thing. Like you really didn't miss out on very much. And if anything, the news articles are probably still available. You can find them. The posts that somebody put up, they're probably still on their account, like on their profile. You can find this stuff. It's not like it disappeared into the abyss and you didn't know last week, now you'll never know. All the stuff is still available. So once I was like kind of made all those connections, I was like, I don't really think I'm missing out on that much. So I took a break. And I don't know when or if I will be back. It's been so peaceful and great. So this is working out for me. The third one I stopped, or I guess not really fully stopped, but I would say like I severely minimized, is the dranky drinks. I was never a heavy drinker, so I'll start with that, which probably is why I actually noticed the difference. I would notice that if I have a drink, even if it's just like literally one drink, the next day I would feel like a little bit blah, like not really energetic. I'm just kind of like in an off mood. I don't know why. I can't explain it. And I'm like, and I shared it with a few friends. I was like, yeah, I'm like kind of noticing like I'm kind of like off the next day. And they're like, Ivana, maybe you just hungover. I'm like, I have one drink. Like, I don't think I'm hungover after one drink. But they're like, you know what? I noticed it too. And a few of my friends said the same thing. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to just not drink. Like, I'll mindfully decline drinks, or like I'll have it once in a blue moon and be like, I'll just live with it. But again, like there's not been a lot of socializing here where I am. So it's been a lot easier because I usually don't go for a drink just by myself. But I've noticed that was a huge improvement. Like just even if I stay up late, the next day, if I haven't had a drink, I'm already feeling like way better. The fourth thing I stopped or like minimized doing this year is being really attached to my phone. Now I feel like, I thought you said you stopped social media. I did, but even once I stopped, I was still like, you know, reaching for my phone all the time, like multiple times an hour, kind of all the time. I'm like getting back to messages too fast, like I'm just there waiting for someone to message me, or like I'm looking at emails, I'm doing something. And again, just like social media and the news, all these things are still going to be there. Whether I am like on top of it as it's happening live or I check back with it later, it's all going to be there. So I was like, I'm feeling still like I'm too attached. So maybe I'll try to create some space. And the way I did that is I would just create like deliberate time away from it. So whether that's like putting my phone on do not disturb, like an hour or so before I go to bed, so I'm not on it, or if I'm trying to start a task, like let's say planning this video, like my phone would be in another room so that I could just focus on what I needed to do. And again, the effects were immediate, because if I had the phone next to me, I'm constantly looking at it and then I'm like breaking my attention from whatever it is that I'm doing, and like it's taking me way longer, and like I'm getting sidetracked and so on and so forth. And now when I'm like, I put my phone away, I'm like that hour, or even if it's less than an hour, I'm focusing on something, I'm actually getting it done. Like I'm like, I look up, I'm like, damn, like it's been like 45 minutes and I got so much done. So it's not realistic for me to never be on my phone. Like that's not gonna happen, but like creating these pockets of time has really improved how I'm doing things. So that's definitely something I'm going to continue to do. And then last but not least is actually stopping caffeine. And that was one of the more recent things that I did. And the reason I went down this road again is because maybe I'm just very sensitive to it, but I would find that if I'm having some caffeine throughout the day, my body's like, all right, we're going. And then in the evening, my body's like, all right, we're ready to rest. And my brain's like, all right, we're still ready to roll. We're ready to roll. We're not tired. And like I have trouble falling asleep. And then you're tossing and turning and turning and tossing, and eventually you fall asleep. Whether I manage to sleep like 6, 7, 8, 10 hours, if I had caffeine, I feel like I wake up and like I had a war, like I was fighting in the night somehow, and my dreams were like just vicious. I wake up and I'm tired, like I am exhausted in the morning, and I look in the mirror and it's like my bags are just like, they're connecting from here all the way back to here. and I'll feel like crap. And then because you're tired, then you're like, well, shit, I need more caffeine. So then you top it up with something throughout the day. You either it's like, some tea, or maybe you have coffee or whatever. And then the same thing happens. And your body's like, I'm so tired, I want to go to bed. And your mind's like, I'm ready. Like, I don't know what that was, but like your mind's not ready to slow down yet. So now you're taking something to help you sleep. You wake up to help you get you going, you take something else. It's like, do I want this for myself? Like, is this really realistic and sustainable? And I was like, let's just try to cut it and see what happens. And if I really need to go back to it, I'll go back to it. So besides the headache that I have for 3 straight days, which didn't leave me, the cloud of darkness, which I was walking in for the first 3 days, I tell you that even the first day of not having caffeine, by the time the evening rolled around, I was like, but I mean, I don't sleep like this. It's more like, that's more like how I slept, but like I was out like a light. And since then I was like, all right, this is great. And over the course of a few days, the headache lifted, thank God. And because caffeine is a diuretic, it makes you pee lots. I stopped peeing every hour on the hour, which is great. It's also annoying to go all the time, but an added benefit is that all this liquid stayed in my face. And now all those little fine lines that I was having right here, that, even like wherever you get them, like some people get them like here, they were gone. Like I have like little ones. I mean, like I'm not 18 anymore, but my face improved like immediately. And I was like, if I can shave off like 6 months off of this face for free, not having to like use products or any kind of procedures, I'll take it. Like I was so excited about it. So this was again like immediate. Within like a couple of days, this was already popping up again. I was like feeling like $1,000,000. And then over the course of like a week and more, I'm like noticing that like I'm sleeping better, I'm falling asleep faster, and I'm also getting a quality sleep. Like I wake up in the morning and like I don't feel tired the way that I used to feel. Like I'm still like, a little tired, but I'm not the way that I used to. And like I'm getting myself throughout the day without having any caffeine, and I'm like, this is going really well. So I'm definitely going to continue doing that. But these were the 5 things that I've stopped doing this past year. I guess kind of over the long stretch of the year, all those things kind of happened. But what have been the habits that you have stopped, and what benefits have you seen from those changes? Comment below, and if you like this video and you want to see more, subscribe, and I'll be putting out more stuff for you.